Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Planet Film Network. Hopefully, our audio sounding good. Hopefully, our visuals looking good, and everything copacetic, all that stuff. TJ, how you been? How's it been going? We took a week off, just reset.
Yeah,
We got a big, huge summer season coming up here. We're going to be
we do.
talking plenty about that upcoming, and also I realized the list that I got for us does have a couple of the stragglers of the October, November, maybe going up to
hmm
those November titles of the Marvels, Dune. So we might be pushing the envelope when it comes to summer, but a lot on our plate, a lot coming up soon. So we'll be talking all that. We'll be touching base on Barry. We'll be touching base on Ted Lasso. I will not be touching base on Succession because one thing I do want to shout out about Succession is if anyone is watching who came from the Succession reviews, thank you guys so much for showing those videos so much love. I know
Yeah,
TJ
doing
remembers
pretty
literally,
well. Yeah.
on this show, I didn't do a video for the first episode. And then on the live show, I just decided to go for it. We clipped it out, and I was like, let's see what we do. And then the first one did like 80. And then
hmm
from there, they've all been doing between 150, some of them 200, 300 views. So I mean, obviously, it's been a huge season of television, and I've been loving it so far. But I literally have a review out for every single episode of this phenomenal season. So if you're looking for your Succession fix after this live stream, or bookmark this live stream, come on back. Got tons of reviews out there for Succession this season. But yeah, we'll be talking about some of that stuff as well. Some writer's strike, a little bit of Disney drama. Um, a lot of bit of Disney drama, to be honest. And then also some unfortunate news for a real Hollywood legend, somebody who's going on to do even more stuff. But before we get into all of that, TJ, what have you been watching? What have you been playing? What have you been reading? What have you been doing in these past 2 weeks here?
well, as I just told you before we went live, I've not watched literally almost anything. I watched one movie
Mm-hmm.
since 2 weeks ago. And I've watched the regular, weekly shows, Ted Lasso and Barry. But the one movie I have watched, and Danielle and I watched this, I believe, last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Watched a little documentary called Still
Oh
on Apple TV
God,
Plus.
I'm so glad. I was like, man, I really wish that I had gotten to that. Go for it,
Right.
man.
Oh my God. It's I mean, obviously it's not wonderful. It's a tough documentary to
Yeah,
watch. But
bittersweet.
I don't know that much about Michael J. Fox. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen Back to the Future 1 and 2, and that's pretty much all I've seen him in. I know obviously like when he was doing the first one, he was doing that and Family Ties, right? And he was
Yeah.
doing that like Family Ties during the day, and he would go film Back to the Future at night. And so basically the documentary is kind of going, starts like early in his career and how he, was basically he was basically broke when
Yeah.
he was doing before he kind of got Back to the Future,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, missing and trying to like keep away from his landlord and stuff like that. He was talking about the apartment that he lived in was it was like a one bed. It was very small. Like he was washing his dishes in the bathroom. He had like one sink, which was in the bathroom, like
Wow.
stuff like that. Um, and how he met his wife, and how that relationship came to be. And then when he, started. It starts with like he kind of had this like his pinky just like started like moving like on its own basically, where he
Mm-hmm.
would like have these spasms. Um, and then I think it was like as it got worse, he went to the doctor and they were like, "Oh yeah, you have this disease,"
Damn.
and and how it kind of like he tried to hide it, and he was hiding it for the longest time. I think it was 7 years he was hiding it. And he was still working,
That's
and he was talking about
insane.
how he would like kind of if he's on screen or something like that, like when he's filming, he would like hide maybe like fidgeting something or like have something in his hand where it's like that's just like part of his character, but in real life he's
Mm-hmm.
like fighting this disease.
Yeah.
Um and just like looking at his family now, he has 3 kids, and he's working every day to try and you know make this and just kind of adapt more his life, I guess. And there's parts too where you'll see like there's a lot of parts that show him kind of working with like a trainer to like kind of adapt to this way of like walking and stuff like that, and to take it slow, because a big part of the movie or the documentary is, he's always kind of like, he was always like kind of going somewhere, like he's moving fast and wants to get somewhere fast, but he's had injuries while fighting this disease that have caused him to try and slow down. And there's points where like you can't really like, there's some points where it's like it doesn't really look that bad. Like there's some shots of him walking, and you're kind of like, oh, like he honestly doesn't. I don't really think it doesn't look like he would have it, honestly. But then there's some shots where it's like, oh yeah, like clearly, this is something he's struggling with. But yeah, it was a very, very good documentary. Highly suggest everybody watches it, even if you don't have Apple TV. I would recommend maybe paying the month subscription, or probably a free trial, honestly, just to watch it, because I really think it's that good. But yeah, I definitely want to watch more of his stuff though, because I definitely I didn't realize how much he was in.
Yeah,
and I didn't even know he had
Holiday.
like a Doc Holliday. I didn't know he had, and this was, I think it was like a show. He was doing the show when he announced that he had, what was the disease again? I keep saying this disease, but Parkinson's, because it was escaping my mind. I forget what the show was called that he was doing.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. It was like he had kind of gone back to sitcoms.
Yeah.
And then even just I don't know, did they touch on it at all? Because I remember it was a big thing in our household when I was, not necessarily growing up, I was a teenager, but I want to say it was 2014, because I think it was right after Breaking Bad, that he came back to network television with the Michael J. Fox show. I think it was on NBC or something. It was one of those like sitcoms where it was like the celebrity playing him. Right. It was kind of like Curb almost, but on NBC. It was like he was playing a fictional version of himself. But that was just about, I think, 10 years ago. But I mean, now, oh yeah, that's right, Spin City. Thank you, Michelle in the chat says, Spin City. That's what it was called. Yeah, I remember. Like I said, I obviously we even talked about on this show after Sundance a few weeks back, or a couple months ago at this point. That still was really hot coming out of that festival, and then it was going to Apple and everything. I haven't gotten a chance to check it out yet, but I have seen, I think probably like either a 2020 special or a 60-minute special from like probably 3 or 4 years ago, I want to say he did. Because I remember watching, hearing him talk about, and they were playing clips from Spin City, and you'd see the like, he'd kind of be doing this, like as you said, kind of he just made it a part of some of the characters that he would play. But yeah, I mean, that's just really tough, and that's everything I've heard is that it's just such an emotional documentary.
One cool way about just real quick about how they kind of shot it, where they'll have like just dressed like an actor up to look like him from the back, basically. It kind of plays like some of those like there's the one shot where it's at the very beginning when he like is talking about how he woke up and he realized like there was something wrong, obviously, because his pinky was moving. But then there's also these other shots of him like running around, and then they would intercut that with like him in Family Ties, like running through the door or something. Which is really cool, and just try and like there's a lot of like footage from his old shows and movies, which is really cool to see. But yeah, definitely recommend.
How
5
long
stars.
Is it?
It's hour and a half, probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I might genuinely watch that tonight, because I close tomorrow, so I got all day tomorrow to watch it too, and I don't have to go to sleep tonight, so I think I might throw that on.
Yeah, definitely if you're like a Michael J. Fox fan, or if you've only seen Back to the Future or anything like.
Yeah, and I mean, and who isn't? Like, if you if you haven't seen Back to the Future, he's just one of those guys that's like, I feel like, and maybe, I don't know, I mean, I know we're mid-20s now, but like, I feel like even if you weren't like a movie person, like in high school, like people knew who Michael J. Fox was. Like he's kind of a figure, especially with all the stuff he does for, giving back and donating and actually working with the people to try and progress this like help the oh my god, like medical practices to help alleviate this disease in
Right,
both
yeah.
him and just people that have it. So really, really fantastic stuff there. But yeah, I'm really glad that that's what you saw, because I really wanted to try and get to that, but I wasn't able to. Let's see here. All right, so, well, actually, you want to talk a little bit what you've been playing, or do you want me to knock out some of these things that I took a look at?
No, I'll talk about it real quick.
Right.
So basically, the reason I haven't been watching any movies really or watching any other shows is because I've been playing a lot of Legend of Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom finally came out. Took a day off work to play it. And then I've been playing it very intermittently throughout the past 2 weeks. It's fantastic game. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I think it's, for me, again, I played Breath of the Wild through once, and that was in 2017 or 2017. It's just so good. It's so good. I think it's better than Breath of the Wild. They expanded on, I feel like, everything that they put into Breath of the Wild. They expanded on it. The map is ginormous. It is, there's a sky level, there's the ground level, and then there's underneath the ground level, which is, there's like, and the underneath the ground level is the same side as the ground level.
Wow.
So it's very large. They introduced shrines in Breath of the Wild. I think there was 120 in Breath of the Wild. There's like 100. I think it's like 160 in
Jeez.
Tears of the Kingdom. And they didn't go back to the formula of like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, where, I think a lot of people that soured them on Breath of the Wild maybe was their lack of temples. They didn't have the traditional temples. They had the divine beasts. And I haven't done any of, they're more temple-esque in this game. But I haven't, because there's so much to do. I haven't done any of them. There's 4 of them, I believe. I haven't touched one. I made it to one, like the entrance, but I haven't done it.
Yeah.
On the Switch, you can see like how many hours or so you've played. I think for me, I checked today, it said 25 hours or more so far. I imagine when it's all said and done, when I finally put the game down, I'd imagine, because I'm not gonna go and complete it or anything. I'm not gonna try and get all the Korok seeds, which I think are like 900 of them or something like that, something ridiculous.
Jeez.
I'll probably be at about like 55, I'd imagine, maybe 55 hours. I'd have to check with Breath of the Wild what I was at, but and it. Remember when I think we were talking about Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Remember I was talking about performance? I was like, people are gonna say, I'll be the first one to tell you if it runs like crap. Tears of the Kingdom, it fucking runs awesome. I don't know how it's possible.
That was gonna be my big
Switch
question
came out
for you.
in 2017. In this game,
crazy.
it run. I mean, are there some frame rate drops? Yes, but has there been any bugs or glitches? No, I have not come across one thing that has made me like restart the game or like anything. It's nuts. I don't know. And I guess Nintendo came out like a few days ago and they were like, yeah, it was ready like a year before we released it, but we delayed it a year to like polish it.
Jesus.
It's like, oh,
What a
well, I'm glad you
flex.
did, because it runs amazing.
That's awesome.
And I guess it's just a testament to that Nintendo is like just very good at what they do. And when people are always like, how is this game, gonna run on this hardware that came out in 2017? I mean, the Switch was already, behind in hardware when it came out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But kudos to them. Like it just runs awesome. Again, just minor frame rate, but I can't complain. But yeah, it's an awesome game. Hopefully, next few weeks I finish it, and then I get back to Jedi Survivor, and then I finish Jedi Survivor, and then I'll finish Resident Evil 4 before probably Spider-Man would be my next game that I would really want to play.
And then you'll circle back to 100% God of War.
Yeah. Well, no, I won't do that. But we will see. There's PlayStation Showcase tomorrow. So
that is tomorrow. Okay, yeah, I lost track of when that was. Okay.
Probably more announcements. Spider-Man 2. Apparently, there's a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake that's happening.
Do
and
you
then a
think
bunch of
it's
other
too
games.
early? I mean, I know you don't know, and I know we don't have a release date, but do you think it's too early to get
Right.
maybe a story trailer for that Wolverine game or something
Wolverine.
more than just a cinematic?
Yeah, I think when was that? Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago, yeah,
Yeah.
2021.
So, and Insomniac's been doing obviously Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Um, so I think a story is possible, but I don't think it'd be like there'd be no gameplay or anything.
Okay, so
Highly
here
doubt that.
is my question. Another question, just as a
Mhm.
hopeful out there. Insomniac, huge fan of them. I know we both are. Everybody is.
Yeah.
I think they're probably one of the most consistently excellent um, game houses out there right now, to be
Mhm.
honest. But um, at least the past 5, 6, 7 years, it's been one within a year of release, one in production, and like one announced. And they've kind of
Mhm.
been cycling that, where it
Yeah.
was like Ratchet and Clank came out, and then we knew Spider-Man 2 was next, and then we got the announcement of Wolverine.
Right.
Now it's, Spider-Man 2 is about to come out. We know that Wolverine is next.
Right. Yeah.
Could we be getting another R&C in the future here? Ratchet and Clank. I mean, they said
Right.
that the franchise, by any means, they said it's not over. It did not end with that one. And I got to tell you, man, when I am using that Night Sister magic and dashing through those barriers
Mhm.
and using the mounts to fly from one ledge to another in Jedi Survivor, it feels like I'm playing Rift Apart. And I
Mhm.
really, really want another one. What do you think? Do you think Insomniac has something cooking, or do you think it's just focus on Wolverine right now, get Spider-Man out, we'll worry about stuff in the future?
Um, I think maybe. When did Ratchet and Clank come out?
2020.
2020.
When did the PS5 came out? It was It was a launch title.
2020.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
2020.
I could maybe
So it's
see
3 years.
Yeah, I could either see it that. Although I don't know if, maybe if they want to try, if they do want to do something different. I'm not
Mhm.
familiar with like every property they've ever done.
Yeah.
So you could do that. I don't know if they,
Sly
are
Cooper
they
remake?
building I don't think they do that. I know Sucker Punch is, they're doing Ghost of Tsushima. They're not
Mhm.
touching that. I don't know who would. I would love that if that
Yeah.
ever came to be, but I don't know who would do it. But maybe I don't know if they're trying to build if they're trying to do like a universe type thing
I
with
don't know.
Marvel. Is that a thing?
That'd be awesome.
So maybe you get another. I don't know what it would be. Like, wasn't there a rumor of some Doctor Strange game or something?
I
don't
think
know if
there
that
was that
them,
rumor,
though.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that. I mean, if they can do that would just be so cool. I'd
Right.
take, you know what I would love really? Is a Hulk game. Just like a straight
Yeah.
up really great incredible Hulk game.
Mhm.
I want to pivot over here because we kind of touched on a couple of them already, but just speaking of me wanting a Hulk game, I do want to touch on that. So I was going very hard at Jedi Survivor, and I basically 98%ed it, and then just basically I gave up
Wow.
and started the new game plus because it was like the Riddler trophies they were like, all right, you're almost there. You got 114 seeds left to collect, and I was
Wait,
like,
what game is this? Sorry,
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I've been going really hard at that, but the last week or so, I decided to kind of take a break, take a breath, and so I re-downloaded Hogwarts Legacy and I re-downloaded the Avengers game, and so I've been kind of playing at all three of those, depending on what my mood is, what I'm feeling like playing, when I come home from work or something like that. And I'm about 4 hours into the Avengers game, which I have not played since it came out. I know we both played it, and then we both did not. We did not enjoy a lot of the mechanics of the multiplayer, and
Nor
I
did
definitely,
anyone.
yeah, nor did anyone really. Except for like any game, a core group of fans. But that being said, I knew there was a ton added to the game since I played, so I wanted to get back into it, and I really really love playing as the Hulk. I really loved playing as the Hulk the first time around. I still think he's one of my favorite things in that game, so I would really love a game like that. But also, like I said, I did get very far in Jedi Survivor, and I will let you know once you are done with Tears of the Kingdom, there is so much still to do in Jedi Survivor. I mean, that is a game that if you really want to like just take your time with it, there is so much that can be done there. You know, finish the story, then you can go into all the bounty hunting stuff, then you can go into, you know, doing all these little extra games. There's mini games that I unlocked. There's this you know, group of people that you can kind of, I really love the mechanics of the recruiting system, of, you know, finding people out in the wild on different planets and saying like, hey, why don't you head back to this saloon, you know, that my friend owns, and then they show up there and it unlocks this different cool thing that you can do. And one of them is they bring this hollow table, and there's literally like these mini games where you can fight like Grease. You can go up against you know, Marin and stuff like that, just in these little, you know, like Dejarik, like the little hollow games that Han and Chewie would play and everything like that. And it's just really, really fun stuff, but also really, really challenging and cool stuff too, that I've absolutely love that game. I just cannot stop playing it, endorsing it, thinking about it, telling everybody to get it. Jedi Survivor, for me, it just keeps getting better and better. And that's coming from somebody who, when I shotgunned it all in like the first 5 days, I was like, man, I love this. I have to think if I like it better than Fallen Order. I think I love it more than Fallen Order. I think that both games are fantastic, but I'm really loving Jedi Survivor for sure. So that's kind of what's been taking up the bulk of my time. But I did want to also stop, because I have been playing so many video games lately. I did want to take some time and watch some stuff. So since we were last live, I watched 5 movies here. First one was a rewatch. I went back and I watched for a third time in theaters Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Talked that movie to death, but I still just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. A couple days later, I decided I wanted to just watch Volume 2 because I really like that movie as well. Fantastic rewatching both of those. And then I got one to rewatch, but not since a long time. But I got 2 new watches here, and that is, I did go to the theaters and I did check out the new Robert Rodriguez film, Hypnotic, with Ben Affleck.
I saw your short 3-word review or something like that said this is the best Instagram reel ever or something like that.
Yeah, so that was a little
I don't know
joke
what that
because
means, but
that was a little joke because I put that, it's the same review that I put for Guardians. So Guardians, I wrote easily the best Instagram reel in years. And I said that because to me, an Instagram reel is like a TikTok that like you can get this beautiful artistic like masterpiece, and then you can also get like, you know, that kid that like covered himself in peanut butter. You know, like it could just, you know what I mean? It could just really be anything. Like, but like Guardians was like, wow, that was like a beautiful film. And then Hypnotic is that other end of the spectrum of the like satisfying animation that's not quite satisfying. Like, and Hypnotic is really just something. I gave it 1 star, and wow, I think Jeff Snyder of the Hot Mic podcast and many other things said that he turned to his friend while watching it and said, Ben Affleck is sleepwalking through this movie, and his friend turned back to him and said, no, man, he's just sleeping. And I think that's the best review that you can say for Hypnotic. But in serious terms, a real throwback to the worst qualities of 90s action movies in the worst way, not like but it's charming in a like my mind is being melted through my eye holes, like what is happening right now. Like I would watch the Book of Boba Fett 70 times over Hypnotic. Like but I will say Billy Fichtner, Buffalo Zone, I don't know if he's still in town, but he's been in town a ton lately. He is the villain of the movie.
Oh, okay.
And he gives a very, very noteworthy schlocky, you know, action movie villain performance. Probably the best thing that I can say about that movie. Another movie that I thought was pretty good. I've talked about many times on this show that I am not a Fast and Furious stan. I have seen Hobbs and Shaw, because I knew that I didn't have to know pretty much anything going into it to see that movie. And I enjoyed that movie. I pretty well liked it in the theaters. Had a good time with it and everything. But I had still never seen any of the mainline movies. And so I decided if I want to see Fast X to talk about it on the channel, I should probably watch some of the movies. And basically, long story short, a lot of them are for some reason not widely available on streaming service. But F9 is, which is for some reason on HBO Max. Max. Happy birthday, by the way. I watched F9, or Fast and Furious 9: The Fast Saga, whatever that movie is actually called.
I guess just F9.
Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I was like, all right, man, this is a roller coaster of, like, I get it. Like, I get why people can get down with this. And then I realized that, like, that's the one that everyone unanimously hates. And
Correct.
And I was like, I had no idea. Like, I mean, I'm sure I knew, but I just didn't remember. And I was like, man, why? Like, I looked up F9 reviews, and everybody was just like, this is the one that jumps the shark. This is the one that it's just awful. There's nothing going on. Yep. And so now I'm just thinking, like, hey, man, I might have to watch all the rest of them just to get the better experience. Like, I know basically everything that happens in the franchise, and I know, you know, the arc of it, that it's like, starts out good, then 4 or 5 is like, oh my god, these movies are actually good.
Yes.
Then, like, 6 and 7 are like, wow, these are really great. And then 8, 9, Hobbs and Shaw, 10, you know. So I get the gist. But in terms of F9, I can't lie and say that I didn't enjoy myself. I sat down, I watched it all in one sitting. I had a good time with it. I mean, it's not phenomenal, but a movie that is phenomenal, one of your favorites, I know. The Cinephiles podcast with Steve Morris and John Roker are doing Skyfall right now, 3-part series on that movie. So I decided, I came home from work. I've been having a lot of opening shifts for some reason on the weekends. So it's been giving me time to just come home and pick something to watch. And so on Saturday night, I just came home, and as soon as I got home, I made some food, came up here, and I just watched Skyfall. And it was the first time I had seen that movie fully, probably since November 2012. Like, probably since the movie came out. And, man, I loved it. I was losing my mind. I was like, this is one of the best Bond movies I've ever seen in my life. The Adele song, the opening, it's like, it's such a tight script. And coming off of Quantum of Solace is just like such an upgrade. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah.
And just everybody down to the supporting cast. Obviously, Judi Dench, fucking phenomenal in that movie. Really, the movie is something that I had forgotten. The movie's really about M. It really is about her the decisions that she's made, her kind of at the end of this career, dealing with the fallout of everything. But yeah, really, really love that. Really love Skyfall, revisiting that, and everything like that. But let's move on, because I just realized I've been talking for quite a bit. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on here to some of this stuff. I just want to get some of your takes on some of these things. So,
yeah,
what is your thoughts on this whole Disney Plus, Hulu? Are they merging? They're deleting a million things, one of which was going to be a hate crime, which they went back on, which is, I don't know if you have seen it or not, but
No.
I've seen the documentary Howard, about the musician and songwriter Howard Ashman, who is famous, basically as influential as Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg were to the Disney Renaissance in like the early 90s, late 80s. Howard Ashman, along with people like Alan Menken and stuff like that, were equally as important to the music. And Howard Ashman wrote a lot of the music from The Little Mermaid, so people were very upset that that was one of the ones coming off. Not only kind of a triple hitter, because not only was he this incredibly influential person on bringing back Walt Disney Animation, but he also wrote most of the music for The Little Mermaid, which, if you don't know, Disney has coming out in theaters again, with Howard Ashman credited as lyricist on some of the songs because he wrote some of them. And then also the triple whammy, He was a gay man who died at the height of the AIDS crisis, right in the middle of working on the Disney animated films. And we're about to enter June here with Pride Month, so big backlash at that being on the list, but also big backlash at some of the more popular titles like Willow. You got the showrunner coming out on Twitter saying they didn't even give us 6 months. I mean, the finale of Willow was like 4 months ago. And it is just gone. You got Bryan Cranston coming out, who really rarely goes on social media, but Bryan Cranston came out and he posted about the movie The One and Only Ivan, which came out during the pandemic, talking about how it's a movie that he's super proud of and very upset with Disney that they're removing it, everything like that. Top to bottom, the movie's Stargirl, which are these like YA young adult movies that are made for, you know, teenagers and stuff like that for Disney Plus. But the writer and director of both of those movies coming out, doing a huge Twitter thread about how, you know, these movies, she did these, you know, when she was 8 weeks postpartum from having being pregnant with her child, that it really helped her through this time, and the fact that they're just taking these off. And then you also have the people that are just cutting right to it and saying, listen, if anyone thinks that this is about anything other than not paying people residuals, right, which is the same thing, and I'll let you, you know, I'm tossing all this your way, but you say whatever you want and you can rope it into, it's the same thing that's the issue with this WGA strike that is not going anywhere. You're seeing Mark Ruffalo, you're seeing Matt Reeves, you're seeing Chris Pine. SAG, their board, has approved the strike. It's now up to the individual actors to cast their votes. You got actors like James Cromwell, Mark Hamill, like I said, Chris Pine, Mark Ruffalo. The list goes on and on about saying, hey, we are going to strike in solidarity with the writers. So what's your kind of take on all this stuff? And then honestly, I'll throw it to you too. Throw in the Max stuff there, because in this transition, make no mistake, they're adding stuff from Discovery, but stuff is also still being removed from Warner Brothers to avoid paying people residuals. So, I mean, it's kind of this huge issue where Hollywood is really kind of at this boiling point. But what are your kind of thoughts on all this? I know there's a lot to break down there, but I want to get your thoughts because we haven't really caught up about it in a while.
Yeah. So to me, I was really surprised, I guess, when they said that they would be taking, you know, stuff off the streaming service. I think Willow just surprised me just because it came out like such a short time ago.
Yeah.
That I did think it would probably be on there for, you know, a few years. I'm not a Willow person. I don't know about you, so I don't really have any connection to it.
Unfortunately, I didn't watch it.
I did roll down like the list of the, you know, things that I guess would be removing, and you know, I'm sure that some of those things had their fans, but I could see where it probably comes from, where it's like, well, is it worth keeping it on here and paying, you know, like the residuals and stuff for it to be streamed, or are we just, you know, is it just kind of dead and, you know, we'll just take it off? It's kind of like, again, you know, Disney used to do with those home movies. You know, people always talk about the Disney vault. You know, we're gonna lock it away and then we're gonna release it, you know, once every 10 years, and you better buy it or else you won't be able to get it again. Now these shows and stuff, I don't know if that'll happen. I can promise you for certain that if you want to watch them, you can most definitely pirate them. Not that I'm endorsing that in any way, but I'm just saying.
But also, ExpressVPN, if you're listening, we wouldn't mind endorsing that.
Right. But yeah, I'm not really surprised, I guess. And again, like you said, you could kind of factor this in as well. You know, Disney's closing down that big Star Wars thing at Disneyland.
Yep.
After, you know, apparently it was like $4,000 a person a night or something like something ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
it was $4,000 for a single person a night, and then $6,500 for a family of 3 per
That's
night.
Crazy. That's crazy. Who's paying
night?
Like,
not enough people. Is the answer.
Enough people, obviously. Yeah. So I think it all kind of, you know, goes into the whole cost saving thing. Obviously, you know, Bob Iger came back to kind of right the ship, and you know, this is kind of what he's doing. As far as the strike goes, obviously, you know, and I think you said that SAG said that they were going to bring it to a vote to
the SAG board has already voted and approved the strike. It's now left to the
member,
actors themselves. So yeah,
right?
basically to
Whether they want
correlate it,
to.
yeah, basically
Yeah,
Congress voted yes, but now it has to go to the ballot box.
got it, got
But
it.
you have these huge,
Yeah,
pillars of the acting community. Obviously, DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and then, like I said, the ones who today you've seen, and in chat, Michelle just wrote too. I didn't even see this. That Jeremy Renner was on the strike line today at Disney. So
oh
you're
wow.
seeing these Disney stars. Yeah, the ones that were at the Disney gates today that I saw for sure was Ruffalo, Renner now, and then Chris Pine. So, and
Hmm.
obviously Chris Pine, a huge star in that upcoming animated Disney Wish movie. So, and obviously he's a huge Disney star in a bunch of different stuff. But, Chris Pine, the Hulk, Hawkeye, these are huge Disney players that are on strike at the Disney gates. And so, I think you can kind of tell where the kind of tone is going.
Right.
Is that this
I
is not
think,
going to end
I
anytime
think
soon.
if the actors vote to go on strike, um, I think you might. I think maybe at that point, maybe you see some more movement because I
Mhm.
feel like the writers have been on strike for what 2 weeks at this point, two and a
Three
half,
weeks.
3 weeks.
Or yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah, because May
Yeah,
1st is when they
and
start.
we have seen obviously some production shut down and stuff like
Mhm.
that, but we haven't seen any of the studios. It seems like the studios
Yeah,
have just been like kind of like whatever, business as usual.
yeah.
We're not coming to the table, or this is our best offer, take it or leave it.
Hmm.
So maybe this kind of expedites the process,
Yeah.
and starts to hurt them a little bit more. But we'll see. And obviously, kind of a different topic. But I just wanted to touch on, as you said, happy birthday to Max. First
Hmm.
day it came out. It released today. I thought, just real quick, my quick thoughts. I thought this was a stupid idea. I don't know why you don't just put the Discovery stuff just in
Library.
HBO
Yeah.
Max and just leave it have it at its own hub.
Hmm.
Which they got rid of. Got rid of hubs. Don't know
Yeah,
why.
I do
And
not like that.
so I only looked on my phone and I only looked on my computer. I never looked
Yeah.
on my TV. And I was like, is it because like I'm on not
Nope.
my TV? I was like, is that why there's no hubs? You were on your TV, right? No
Yeah.
hubs. That's
Yeah.
correct. Stupid. Why would you do that? It makes no sense.
Now I should say, because I've have been on Max. Of course I watched some
Right.
Succession today, and also a little bit of Guy's Grocery Games. But I will say, maybe there are hubs buried, kind of like Disney Plus has
Right.
the collections, but you can only see them if you go to the search
Right.
tab. But the way it used to be, where you would go to the sidebar of HBO Max and you would have all the hubs right there to choose from, that is completely gone. So that system, maybe there's a way to search and just say, hey, I just want to look at Cartoon Network stuff, but it is not the way that it used to be at all. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you got a chance to look at Max. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's. I was expecting more. I was expecting improvement in the user
UI?
interface, which there really wasn't.
It's just
It's
blue.
blue.
Now.
It's blue. New
I'll
profile
give him.
pictures.
Hey man, I'll
maybe?
give him that. It's blue.
Maybe new profile pictures that you can attach to your name.
Oh yeah, Bobby Flay.
Can somebody explain to me why didn't you just why can't you just update the HBO Max app? Why do they have to make a whole new app?
That's
Maybe I'm not the most I'm not I'm no computer science whiz or whatever. I'm not the most technical person, but I can't imagine making a whole new app is less difficult than just updating an existing one.
You know what I think the answer is to that, and it's one that I didn't even consider until just now. I think that is the answer, is that it is the same app. But to just reskin it, clone it, and then I don't know if you downloaded the Max app immediately or if you went to HBO Max first, but you go to HBO Max if you still have
And it
the
says,
old
"Oh,
app.
well, there's this new app called Max."
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think
But
about
at first, it didn't say that. At
Yeah.
first, it was HBO Max still worked, and you could download Max and do this exact same thing.
Yeah, that's what, when I first saw it this morning, I still had both.
Right.
I had both available to me, but think about it. What's better, saying, "Oh, just keep it on the same app," or, "Oh, here's this new app from Warner Brothers, and holy shit, it just got 20 million downloads in one day."
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I think that probably
More
had
about
something
the optics,
to do with
probably.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, look at how many downloads we had.
Yeah, maybe like, I don't know. I'm not impressed. I think it's a stupid idea. I think, I just thought it was just really dumb. Just to name it was fine. HBO Max, it's fine. Just leave it.
I know.
Like, the fact that you have to add a tagline now to your advertising, the one to watch for HBO, that makes it
stupid.
Twice as more like just annoying for people, just general people. Like, they're like, where do I get HBO again? Oh yeah, I gotta go to Max. Where it's like, where do I get? Oh, HBO Max.
And I literally, I opened up my Google TV this morning, and I went to HBO Max, and I was like, oh, it's still HBO Max. And then I went, oh, maybe it is another app. Yeah. And so I held down the thing, and I searched Max. No results found. Opened up the keyboard. MAX. Enter. Brought me to the 2015 movie about a dog. Nothing. Max app. Finally, Max movies and streaming. On the fourth Google search, I finally got to it. I mean, it's like, you're just it's so stupid. I mean, I just don't understand. Like you said, and like everybody's pointing out, the whole, you went from 2 words to 6 words. Or sorry, 7 words. Max, the one to watch for HBO, as opposed to just HBO Max. Like,
and
idiotic.
And a completely different streaming service this week, I believe. Paramount Plus Showtime integration happens. So I will be interested to see. I'm assuming they're definitely going to keep the same app. Obviously, I'm just interested to see what the UI look. It might be the same, honestly, because it's already in there.
Well, I think they're going to do what. Yeah, I think they're going to do what we assumed that these guys should have done. It's just you're just going to go to the Showtime tab and you have all the Ray Donovan you could ever want. I don't know, but and I also saw people were complaining about the price on that, and it's like Paramount Plus it's adding all of Showtime, and it's going from $9.99 to $11.99. Like, it's only $2 more. Like, the HBO put 4K behind a paywall. Which
I don't have.
Also pissed about. Yeah, neither do I right now. 4K yeah,
currently.
Yeah.
That sucks.
All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about, and we will be covering, more craziness with Max. Obviously, the strike, or possibly strikes. Oh, look at that! Good Burger 2, now filming. I don't know.
I'll be honest, never seen the first one, so I
don't know. I mean, these guys. We're looking at this video here, and I will just say they look visibly 48. But okay, sorry. Just refresh Twitter. I just saw that right away. But like I said, obviously we will be talking about the strike, the SAG strike, and then even further out towards July, also the possibility of the DGA striking as well. And you see, tons of writer-directors on the picket lines today. Like I said, Matt Reeves, James Gunn has been on the picket lines before, and probably will be again. But yeah, really crazy time. Let us know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on this writer strike, on the possibility of SAG striking, everything like that? I mean, it's starting to affect the content that we watch and everything like that. But speaking of that, before we head on to some of these reviews and then close out with our summer movies, last thing I want to get your thoughts on, really one of the only big true news stories I feel like here, Loki officially got October 6th release date.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, what are your thoughts on the fact that is now officially, that is 2.5 years between seasons. 2.5 years between seasons on that show. Do you feel like, is it just because everything's kind of fucked right now that it's just crazy delays, or is that just, but then also on the DC side of things, I mean, James Gunn has talked about that Peacemaker season 2 probably won't be until 2025. What are your kind of thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's a lot of different things. Like, just specifically Marvel, I think it's a lot of different things. Obviously, Yeah, obviously the writer's strike is very recent. Loki was obviously is already done, finished,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. They're just working on some minor things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least nothing to do with writing it and everything.
Yeah.
But like you said, or like Kevin Feige said, I believe a month or two ago, when they said they were gonna start, maybe pulling back a little bit on the content, a little more quality control, probably, quality, less quantity, I'd say. I think that's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how. Obviously, they're not gonna go in and reshoot. I mean, I would be shocked if although maybe if something crazy happens with Jonathan Majors' case, you never know. If they were to like pull it and then recast, reshoot that whole thing, that would be insane. But I highly doubt that's gonna happen. We'll see what happens with that. But no, I think it's just kind of like that's where Loki's kind of story ended, and now we're it's where it showed up 2.5 years later. And the Peacemaker thing doesn't surprise me, just because I don't think Peacemaker is going to be an Elseworld story. I think he'll probably want him in his DC universe that he's creating. And he has more people to he has more characters to introduce before we get back to Peacemaker. I'd imagine that's probably where that comes from.
And also, just in you talking about that too, I would almost assume he's going to, but I also didn't even think about the fact Peacemaker could just be in that Creature Commando show.
Yeah, that's
what I mean. He's talking all about how this video games, animation, live action, it's all going to be the same actors across everything, and we're like, okay, Frank Grillo is going to be playing Rick Flag Sr., so that means we're probably going to get him as Rick Flag Sr. in live action. I didn't even think about the fact that we could already be going the opposite way, that people we've already gotten in live action could just be in this show. Last thing on the Disney Plus front, what are your thoughts on this Echo story? That Echo is just all the episodes. By the way, an unknown amount of episodes. It was originally 8. Then there's now reports that it is a real mess and that they maybe chopped it down to 6, maybe even chopped it down to 4. Do you think this is just kind of, like you said, they're trying to focus on getting these higher quality writers? Is this kind of, we need to get out, we just need to push out this stuff that is kind of this bygone era of this kind of fast and loose Chapek era of, quantity over quality, so we're just going to dump it all at once? What are your thoughts on this? Or do you think it really just is probably because the show is not very good?
I think it might be. I think it's mostly because they don't think it's very good, but also when's actually, we don't know, like, Daredevil, right? That's what, 2024 sometime, right?
Yeah, I would assume probably it would take like the Loki spot, so like October or November 2024 probably.
Oh, so a whole year later. Okay, got it. So it's not to, it wouldn't be to like drive up hype or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it might be just because maybe it's not very good, and obviously, we have another show to focus on.
Yep.
So why not just cram them together?
Out right in between that.
Right. And I'll be honest. Remember when it was announced? Nobody was like, I don't know. Me personally, I was like, I don't really need this show. Like, I'm not
and
really.
I loved
they didn't
Echo.
make her all that. I liked her, but they didn't make her all that interesting in the show she was in. Like,
I should say that I loved Alaqua Cox. I loved the performer in the role. But like you said, it's like she was great as a secondary antagonist in Hawkeye. And I mean great. I thought it was interesting with the deafness, especially the scene, the whole kind of attack on her apartment where you get Yelena, Kate, Clint, and her all kind of going after each other and fighting each other kind of at once. I love that stuff, but to carry her own show, it's kind of that Agatha thing that, I've talked to my friend Alex at work. It's kind of that Agatha thing of just like, they were like, oh my God, this character hit. Let's go. 8 episodes. Go, go, go. Get Aubrey Plaza. Build a whole show around this person. And it's like, you don't need to do that. And I feel like if they had the idea of the special presentations like 3 years ago, I think Echo would have been a special presentation off the bat. I think Agatha would have been a special presentation off the bat. But like, to be like, oh yeah, we're doing an 8-episode Agatha series where we're gonna dive into the Salem witch trials and Aubrey Plaza and
Yeah.
all these different people and all these different like actresses of stage and screen are gonna be in the like it's just they just went too big with some of this stuff, I feel like. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then the last thing here, obviously we kind of touched on it at the very top of the show, but really, really unfortunate news that we got the other day that Ray Stevenson has passed away at the age of 58, which is, I mean, I know on this show we've talked about before last year, Gilbert Gottfried, Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald, all these actors right around the age of 60. I don't know what's going on, but it's just these horrible gone too soon, gone too early type people. Obviously, Punisher, Warzone, the Thor movies, and then even Gar Saxon in Rebels and Clone Wars. I got a Gar Saxon Funko Pop looking at me right there. And then obviously, even last year, RRR. Ray Stevenson was fantastic in RRR. And then obviously people are very excited and intrigued by his character of Baylan Skoll, who's going to be appearing in the Ahsoka series. So I mean, you saw this news. What was your kind of initial thoughts or feelings on that? Because I mean, just terrible.
Yeah, just really sad to see. I wasn't familiar with much of his work though, other than like you said, his kind of voice acting in Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels. And I didn't even know he was in RRR. I still gotta check that movie out. Yeah. But it was just kind of more sad to see just how young he was. He was only 58. It's still had a lot of career left, ahead of him. And I was really excited to see him in Ahsoka. Still am, obviously, but yeah, really sad to see.
Yeah, I really and I know this is never like, oh, I'm upset about the story ramifications of this actor passing away, but it's just like, man, if Ahsoka ends and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see what Baylan's gonna do in the movie, that is gonna be so heartbreaking. If he's like, oh man, Ray Stevenson is playing this great character, and I can't wait to see where it goes, and now we don't know what shape that's gonna take. So really awful news, but I was really, really bummed when I saw that the other morning. Really, really bummed. All right, let's talk a little bit here. We only have 2 shows to touch on real quick, and that is, let's talk Barry first. So I believe what you messaged me was, what are we even doing with Barry, or what are we even doing on Barry? Fill us in here. What's going on with Barry? We got 1 episode left until the series finale, and we are in a very funky, weird place with this show, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing with Barry.
8-year time jump.
8-year time jump. Man of God, child on the run, in hiding, different names. And it's all coming to a head, it seems like. I'd say a nice moment of return to comedy in the episode with the NoHo Hank rocket attempt on the Fuchs household, and the rocket just like completely like going and then just curving, and he shoots. He's like, okay, next one, and he's like, well, I only got one. He's like, you thought it was gonna be first try, and then him like driving away. Yeah, driving away, and like he's like calls Fuchs. He's like, call off your guys. He's like running, and then you hear him tumble down the cliff. Oh my god!
He goes, you killed my driver. And he goes, sorry, man.
And then you have the whole kind of so we have that. Obviously, we have the whole Gene Cousineau kind of storyline that he's coming out here trying to And 2 episodes ago, we obviously shoots his son, and then I feel like that's the last time we see him, and then we have the time jump, and then there's, I think last episode he comes back from the dead apparently because people thought he was dead for like 8 years, and Warner Brothers wants to make the movie about Cousineau and Barry, and they want to cast Daniel Day-Lewis of My Left Foot, where
deep
the
cut.
agent's like, oh, that's deep cut, yeah. Mark Wahlberg wants to play Barry apparently, and you find out that it's all kind of a setup by Jim to like get Kusuno to like admit that I don't remember this $250,000.
Yeah, so Barry came to him and he dropped off the money
Right.
in the beginning of season 3, I want to say.
Okay.
Cuz that was how he bought his son that house. He was like, "I'm going to buy you a house so that you can live closer to me." This, that, and the other thing, and basically it's been a while since it's been brought up, but I just think it's a really interesting choice to now kind of throw all this on at Kusuno's feet almost, and you got Charles Parnell,
Yeah.
obviously from Top Gun and the Mandalorian season 3 finale, playing the DA there of Los Angeles, kind of being like, why didn't you tell us about this money? Assuming the worst. Basically, honestly, what they were saying was that they were figuring that it felt more like Kusuno was the mastermind who pressured Barry into killing Janice. Like
Yeah.
they went full
I was
180
like,
on him.
where did we get? I was like dumbfounded. I was like, where did we get this angle from?
Yeah.
I was like, why would
I think it's from Jim. I think probably Jim convinced the guy and was like, listen, this is what makes sense to me. Because he's crazy. I mean, Jim's crazy. But
you think that reporter's talking? Still, you think he's still like speaking German or whatever he was doing?
That's right. I forgot about that. That is so freaking funny.
And then the other last storyline we have was Sally and her son, and obviously Barry. Barry, two very, very creepy moments in this episode was, I don't know what Jim gave Barry when he tied him up in that chair, but making him like hallucinate to see things that he wasn't seeing. I don't know how that works in
was crazy.
Real life, but that was crazy. And then Sally talking to the police officer, but then his eye was bleeding, and I didn't really know what was going on there. I don't know about you. I was very confused.
So that was the actor from last season, the guy that she killed. It was the same actor.
Oh,
yeah. So she's like seeing him, and then also the very like people are saying like Lynchian kind of out there scenes of her kind of drunken state of the house attack, the kind of home invasion thing.
That other thing, that's what I want to talk about last week, but we didn't have a show. That was very scary. That was
I felt scary. On the edge of my seat. I was talking at work yesterday. We were a couple of us were talking about that movie Skinamarink. And they were like, I had to keep the lights on. I had to keep the lights on after that scene of last week's episode. I was like, it was like chilling when the guy was behind her in the black suit, just like following her, like right behind her. Like this show, what did a tweet that I sent you with the NoHo Hank missile clip? It was like, Barry is so crazy because it's some of the darkest shit you've ever seen, and then 5 seconds later it's an episode of Looney Tunes. Right. And like that shit was dark. Like and it was it all in her head? Is she just looking for a reason to have Barry come home? Is it, is any of this real? Like, and we just don't know the answers yet, because clearly she is completely off the reservation in terms of her mental capacity, with what we've been seeing that she's clearly been doing the last few years with that guy that we saw at the rest stop there, while also pretending to be this like you said, these kind of Christian parents for this son of theirs, who they both don't seem to be really taking care of or know how to take care of. No. But
just wanted a comforter.
No, yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, but he had to get that Lincoln book. Maybe he can burn the Lincoln book to stay warm.
Yeah, and then we see NoHo Hank capture Sally and their son, and then NoHo Hank says, "Come get your kids, or your kid and your wife." Yeah. Calls Barry, and then we have this very kind of pull into Bill Hader, I feel like, as the tense music is growing, and then it cuts to black, and that's where they leave us for the final episode. to come next week. Personally, think that was a big mistake taking his wife and child. This man is a killing machine. So
I thought for sure we were gonna get the turnaround with the eyes, because we haven't seen him make that face yet this season. I don't think
right.
last time with the Chechen stash house with when he was going crazy looking for Fuchs, and he just got rid of every single person in that entire building. I feel like that is what we are in for. Just an absolute slaughter. To be honest.
What if they end this and somehow it's like all in somebody's head? Would you be mad? How mad would you be mad?
I wouldn't. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put anything past this show.
Yeah.
I'll be interested.
Like, and you know, at the last 2 minutes, it's like Sally, and it's like, you know, and it's like,
and she's like,
whoa,
and then it's Ryan Madison, and he goes, "Are you excited for our first acting class?"
Yeah.
You go, whoa, the whole thing. Oh my God, Barry was never real. That would be truly insane, but I wouldn't put it past this show. But I'll be interested to know, because next week, like I said, Succession and Barry are ending at the same night. It has been reported by HBO, or maybe not by HBO specifically, but by the trades, that Succession series finale is going to be 90 minutes, which will push Barry to 10:30. So if it's already pushed to 10:30,
like 45 minutes.
I was just gonna say, if it's already pushed from its normal time slot, the whole night's gonna be screwed up for HBO. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of them got permission to say, hey, you're these two huge shows, however long you need for your finale, you can do it. But then also, it's Barry. I mean, this is 28, 22-minute episodes, like are normal. So who knows? You know, it could be 45 minutes, could be 19 minutes. You know, I really hope it's not that, but I'll be excited to see what it is either way. But I'll be definitely excited to see how I feel about this whole season once it's wrapped up.
Agreed.
Now, a show that I need you to fill me in on, because I can't remember how many episodes we have left, is Ted Lasso. Also,
2 episodes, I believe, left.
Okay, and we still. Am I right in saying we still have no official word on if this is the final season or not?
I believe you are correct in that.
Because Jason Sudeikis said like, this is the story we wanted to tell, but then Brett Goldstein was like, we're gonna end it when we want to end it.
Right. I think the way the episodes, or at least the most previous episode, has been kind of going, it seems like this would be the last season.
Yeah.
So are you caught up or
true.
no?
I am. I just finished.
Okay.
I literally, when I texted you, we got to talk about Ted, it was when I finished the episode. So,
so let's just talk about the most recent episode instead of going back 2 weeks. Obviously that was a great episode. You know, dealing with Colin's sexuality and that whole thing.
Right.
I thought that was awesome.
And him and Isaac. I always love when they give Isaac stuff to do.
Right. That was awesome. This episode, I just felt like we were very much jumping around a lot. Is that just me? Like I feel like
didn't realize that Ted only had like 2 scenes in this until the episode ended.
Yeah,
and I was
we have our hands in like 6 different, maybe 7 different storylines, like going all the way over the place. You know, this is also a longer episode. Like I had to look up who the Kufu guy was. I was like, who is this guy again? I was like, and why is he in here talking shit to Sam? And I had to like Google it. I was like, who is this guy? And apparently, like, it wasn't like he wanted Sam to come play for him, and then Sam was like, no, I'm gonna stay here. And
he wanted to create. He wanted to basically create a Nigerian soccer league around Sam, like as like the star. And Sam said, no, I want to stay at Richmond.
Right. And then obviously we have the Super League storyline, which, as you know, I talked about.
I will say, you at your education, I was watching the episode and I understood it. I was like, I remember TJ talking about the Super League talks, so I was like, I loved that they kind of brought that, as they always do, bring in real world, like Zava and stuff like that. You know, that they just bring in these kind of allegories into the show.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool storyline. The whole kind of all these white men sitting at this table, and then we have the woman obviously talking sense into the men. Was great. I hated like when she walks in and I forget what that one guy says.
Oh,
He's like, "Oh,
oh, I got so excited when Rupert told me you were coming, and then I saw you in that outfit, and I remembered why." And I was like,
yeah." I was like,
oh,
"Fuck this guy."
like,
Yeah.
God. And Rebecca is
Um,
such a champion to just, like, internalize that and not, like,
right.
explode. Like,
hmm
ugh. That guy was
Um,
awful. That guy was
but
really bad.
but like I said, I love that whole messaging of, you know, you all have so much. Like, why are you trying to take away the game that means so much to so many that
Hmm.
are, less fortunate or whatever than you? So that was awesome. Trying to think of what else we're missing. Obviously, Keely and Roy. I guess they're I don't
Hell yeah,
know,
brother.
back
Yes, they
together. I
are.
guess.
Absolutely.
Interesting, which was interesting to see. I thought
Hmm.
they'd go more into her relationship with what's her name again?
Jack.
Jack.
Hmm.
I didn't really expect it to end kind of like that.
See, I
Obviously,
liked it, though, because Jack, she always had that. Like, Rebecca really was right about her from the beginning. Like,
yeah.
Jack always kind of had that, like, when they were even at mini golf and Jack saw those girlfriends of hers that she knew, or her
hmm
sister's friend, or whoever that was at the mini golf,
Right.
and she was like, "Oh, this is my friend Keely." Like,
Right.
Jack, she always kind of had that vibe, and so I actually liked that. First, she comes in, she has no idea what's going on. Barbara's like, Jack told me she was gonna tell you, this decision was made, and then
Yeah.
finally, when Jack does tell her, you can tell that she's just full of shit. She's like,
Yeah.
"Oh
Oh, I
my
was in
god,
Argentina for
yeah." She's like, "I've been
3 weeks or
so
whatever. Yeah.
busy, I didn't even have a choice in this."
Yeah.
Really, so this is happening just right after Keely breaks up with you because you were being an asshole, and
hmm
we're just supposed to believe it as the two have nothing to do with each other. Like,
hmm
I was glad to see her go, to be honest. But I will say I really liked what they gave Keely to do in this episode. I think Keely just Juno Temple continues to be a fantastic part of this show.
hmm
And I really liked it. I think probably my favorite scene of this episode was the scene with Keely and May at the bar.
Mm.
Because May, May's been everybody at that bar has been these kind of, you could say, throwaway kind of comic characters, but to have the character of May be like, oh yeah, she's a female business owner, so she can
hmm
relate to Keely right now, and to kind of have that connection with them, I thought it was fantastic. And then to end it with the joke where she was like, "I gotta get you a sandwich. I can't have another skinny girl pass out at my bar." Like, I thought that was so funny. But and
um,
then I
my
liked the resolution too with Barbara at the end of it.
Yeah. My favorite scene, or it was a group scene, whatever, was
Hmm.
the Uncle's Day party. I love
Oh
that.
yeah, that
That
was
was this
great.
episode, right?
Yeah, first time we
Yeah.
got to see Roy's sister.
No, I think we've seen her before, haven't we?
Oh, have we? Okay,
I
I
thought
can't I
maybe we
can't
had.
remember.
But like, Jamie's like slide comment where he
Hmm.
goes, "Oh, your sister's
He was
fit" or
right.
something like that. And he said, I think Roy says like, "I will
I'll
pull
cut
your
your
eyes
eyes
out."
out. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
I thought that was all great. I think Brett Goldstein and Phil Dunster have awesome chemistry together. I think they work
Yeah.
tremendously well together.
And I read the
Um,
just the description of the
yeah.
episode that's out right now. That was like apparently something about that. It said Roy worries about Jamie or something. I
Well, they're
love that
facing Man City
dynamic.
this week, I think. So
Yeah, isn't that's
former
just what the
team
episode's
of
called, right? It's just
former
called Man
team,
City.
yeah, former team of Jamie Tart.
Hmm.
The one I believe his dad
Oh, I was
support.
just gonna say
So I'm assuming we're gonna
we're
see
gonna
his
get his
dad
dad.
again.
Shit.
Uh, if they could get some sort of the one thing I do wish maybe, and again, this is just kind of like a wish for me. It's not like a
Hmm.
necessity. I do wish we had some real life player cameos, from any
Yeah.
team that maybe
Hmm.
just to show up or so, especially specifically like you could throw in Declan Rice he plays for West Ham. You could throw him in there just because Nate was coaching. He doesn't coach there now,
Cristiano
but
Ronaldo.
I think Ronaldo. I think he's a little bit too high pay grade, I'd
I was
say.
just happy that I got the name.
Right. That was good. And then we obviously the other storyline we have is Nate quitting his job.
Yes, I loved Nate in this
and
episode.
he's coming back. He's gonna make a return at some point to Richmond. I already feel it. He has his girlfriend.
The theory that we like conferred on a couple weeks ago is genuinely what's just gonna happen. I think there's going to be something where Ted has to go back to America and Nate is going to step up to coach the last game of the year. Something like that, because it's all the pieces are still coming together to kind of form that.
I think, and he has that conversation with his dad as well. In this episode.
Oh, that was great.
That was really good. And the violin and all that stuff, that was awesome. I'm coming. I think I'm coming around on him, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would, but he was trying so hard to kind of be that. I don't even know what you would
He was
call
trying.
it.
I feel like if you take the conversation with his dad in this episode, and just the way that he's talked about his dad throughout the entire show, he was trying to be the person that he thought his dad wanted him to be, and to kind of have him quit, have him kind of have that breakdown where he didn't come out of his room for what seemed like a week, and then kind of have that breakdown and then that breakthrough with his father, I thought was like absolutely fantastic. And then can you remind me, I know you were about to say it, what happened with Jade? He just didn't go on the trip with her, or did they break up?
He just didn't go. No,
he just didn't go. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, I thought I looked away and then he like broke through the window, and I was like, did she like kick him out, or he just didn't want to be alone? Right.
Yeah, he just didn't want to.
Yeah, he wanted to be home.
Just didn't want to go. Right.
Yeah. Which is fair.
Yeah. But I'm very interested to see what happens this episode. I think it might be another. Yeah, we haven't had many. I don't think we have had like a Jamie episode this season. We've had like he's been in episodes like with Roy working
and like his training stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Training stuff, but we haven't had like a Jamie episode. Although him. Or that might have been, or no, that was this week. Him kind of playing for England and wearing Sam's number. That was a fucking great touch. And I also love the moment last week where Isaac has his meltdown and he gives Sam the captain's thing, and Sam and Jamie look at each other, and Jamie's like, "Oh, that was funny." Yeah.
Me, maybe, and Sam's like, "No, I'll take this one." Another moment before we move on from Nate that I loved, the moment with Will. When he came in and Will just saw that everything was already done for him.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh man, you're really going to get me right now if Nate did it. Yeah. And then he read the card and it just said, I'm sorry. I was like, damn, that was like, because he doesn't need this whole ass letter. He just needs to know that he's on the comeback trail. And then also I saw, I think Nick Muhammad tweeted out, it just said, it was like an email and it just said, Dear Ted, comma. So I think we're going to be getting that. Maybe not this week. Maybe it's just a tease for the overall end of the show. But when those two finally reconcile, it's going to be so emotional and so fantastic. I mean, this show is just so... And like I said, the fact that, like Barry, although I would say Barry probably to a lesser extent, just given how this season has been going, the fact that something like Barry and Ted Lasso... You can have these episodes where the main character kind of takes a back seat for a go-around, you know what I mean? And also, I don't think... I guess the last question I want to ask you about Ted Lasso here is, do you agree with people that are like, oh, I don't like that Ted has really been kind of taking a back seat in this whole season? Because for me, honestly, I don't really think that he has been. Kind of like freaking, to relate Ted Lasso to Star Wars... kind of like Mando season 3, right? Like Din Djarin didn't disappear from the show. Right. They were just focusing on other people more strongly at certain points. And I feel the same way because I think about Ted this season, we've done so much work with him, with Michelle, with Henry, with Dr. Jake, who I think, by the way, I don't know if you read the description, it says a surprise visitor gets or puts Ted on edge or something like that.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
So I'm thinking maybe it could be him or maybe somebody else. But what are your kind of thoughts on that? Oh, then Michelle in the chat just said, "Do we think that Dr. Sharon could come back before the finale?"
I think it's definitely a possibility because we have not seen anything from
She
her.
was in
Really.
a Zoom call in like
Yeah.
episode 1, and that was
Right,
it.
and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's taking it back. I think there's been some episodes that have, really pushed him forward. Specifically, I think the one when Henry was coming back, when he came back to England for that little time. And here and there as well, but I think it was definitely good. They have all these characters that have, we want to learn more about them. So you have
The
to
show
spread
has
that
like
out.
25 primary characters.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with that.
Oh my god.
Are you on
Higgins'
the
line in this episode about Willy Wonka, and he's like, and those kids died, and Rebecca was like, I don't think so. And he said,
No,
Rebecca, those children are dead. Like, I was like, that was just so funny. Like, I love Higgins so much.
Are you on the Rebecca Ted train?
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people are
I
on?
still am.
Okay.
Because not only everything else that's been happening, but this time she pulls, and you can't trick me, Mr. Show, with having her and Sam walk past each other and having a little, interaction.
That was really awkward. That was like
exactly. It was awkward. It was awkward, but it was heartfelt. Was her and Ted at the end of the episode, and this episode she pulls the little matchbook out, which has been signifying Sam to her all season. And what is wedged in the matchbook? The Green Army Man that Ted gave her. And what does she look at when she realizes that she has to take a stand up against this league? Which, by the way, I love that too, that we were, as an audience, kept in the dark, because I was like, why is she going to that meeting? She doesn't want to be a part of that. And I like that it was like, she wanted to go because she wanted to tell them, this is not what we should be doing. I thought all that worked so well in this episode, but I'm very firmly still team Ted Becca.
I wish I knew.
On there.
Again, this is so like whatever, but I just wish I knew where they were in the standings. I just wish I knew if Richmond was like fighting the relegation battle, or if they were mid-table. Like
it sounds like they're probably in the middle, because they've had super great win streaks this season and super bad like down streak, like, because this episode starts with the commentators, which I always love, but they were like, Richmond's on a 10-game win streak, which is like the second 10-game win streak we've seen this season.
You could probably tell they're actual commentators if you couldn't tell.
Yeah, no, I always love,
because they like guys. Zoom in on them. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think I just absolutely really, really great episode. We touched on Roy, touched on Keely, Barbara, Nate, everything with that. So I think really, really excited to check out this episode. I think I'll probably check out probably both tonight, maybe Ted and Still with Michael J. Fox. But guys, let us know, what are your thoughts right now on where we're at with Barry, with Succession even. Let me know your Succession theories down below as well. I'd love to hear those. And then also Ted. I mean, we got these 3 kind of Titanic shows coming to a close right now. I mean, it's a big week and a big month for shows ending. I mean, you even go further than that. CW's Flash is ending tomorrow. Insane. I never thought it would happen. The heat death of the universe I thought would happen first. But tons of shows ending, so let us know what your thoughts are on all of those. And to close out the show here, we are going to make a little combined tier list of just kind of where we think some of these big summer movies, some of these big tentpole blockbusters, and I'll be honest, some of which on this list have already come out. I think just 2 of them, but yeah, just 2 have already come out, but we'll throw those on there where we think. We'll just close it out from there. So if you are watching us live, let us know what you think about some of these movies coming up here and everything like that. But I think we'll go safe and do a nice combined list here. So I'll ask you, do we want this to be how we think they'll perform, how good we think that the movies themselves will be? What do you want to do here? What do you think takes precedent, or should we kind of weigh it all into consideration?
I would think for me personally, I would want to do how I think they'll be, but we can do them.
Or do we want to do hype?
We could do.
I'll leave it up.
We could do. Let's do hype.
Let's do hype. Yeah. All right. Let's do hype. So you heard the man. Let us know if you're watching us right now, or if you're watching on the replay, or on the clip out here. Let us know. We are ranking these in terms of hype for these upcoming summer blockbusters. Like I said earlier, some of them going a touch into the fall, just because it is kind of a weird release schedule this year, where the summer's kind of middle loaded, and then really nothing in August, nothing in September, and then some stuff in the fall that we really want to talk about.
Are we skipping the ones we've seen already? Which
I just think we'll knock those out right now. So okay. In terms of hype, let's just say, well, actually, never mind. So 2 have come out already, but only 1 we've seen.
Right. Yeah.
So let's just throw. Where do we put Guardians? A or S? I would put
S.
it in S. Yeah. That movie was phenomenal. All right. So I'm glad we got that easy one out of the way. So next up here, I don't have the calendar up or anything, so we'll just go in what I believe is the general order, which is next up, let's say Fast X. So I just watched F9. We just talked off mic before this that we're probably going to go see this together at some point this week, schedule dependent. But where are we at with this right now?
For me, it's a B.
I would say, all right, I'll live with that. I'm excited.
You're a bigger fan of F9 than I am. But
I'm excited to see fan favorite character Mia back one more time.
I'll tell you what, man. We didn't talk about it, but the whole spoiler for the big return in the post credits, I am so mad. I'm not gonna say it.
Really ruined.
Well, I guess the movie's out. It did kind of ruin it. There's another. Do you know
about the other one?
Movie. I do know because the actress tweeted about it.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Which again, the movie's out.
Kind of unavoidable.
Can't blame her for that. That I can't blame her for. But I can blame. I believe it was the Wrap for spoiling the return of.
Yes.
Spoiler. The Rock, which I'm very mad about. Because I would have liked to see that
video
in the theater.
Right now out. Dan Murrell put out fantastic video about scoop culture, breaking down all of this.
That's not a scoop.
Well, that's the thing is the video. That's basically the point of the video is what is a scoop, what is not, what is a spoiler, what is ruining a movie for somebody. Really in depth, and he does not pull punches. I'll say right here, guy has no idea who we are. Humberto Gonzalez, who we've seen in the SHOWDOWN before, that El Mayimbe. He's one of these big personality scooper, writers out there, and it was him that made that article for the Wrap, and Dan goes deep into Humberto Gonzalez's specific history of, I don't know if you remember so much, but I remembered right away when Dan started talking about it, how huge all the press cycle was about who Star-Lord's dad was in like 2016. Okay, it was like, we got it over here. Star-Lord's dad is going to be Marvel, and that's going to lead into Captain Marvel. We got it here. Star-Lord's dad is going to be Star Fox, the brother of Thanos. Like, it was just
from
like...
the popular video game, Star Fox 64.
Yes, exactly. And played by 17-year-old Harry Styles.
Right.
Like all this stuff, but a great video breaking that all down. But yeah, I was upset about it too, because, it's one of those things that's like, they were so adamant that it was never going to happen again, and then now it's kind of like, okay, well we know
Black
it
Adam,
did. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Black Adam happens.
I love that somebody said it. Vin Diesel has the chance to do the funniest thing ever, and they were like, the fact that Vin Diesel could now Henry Cavill The Rock. Like he could be like, all right, you're coming back in the post credit, and then never pay it off.
Right.
That would be insane. All right, next up. So we got Fast X. Next up here, Little Mermaid. This is something that I will tell you right now was a D for me. Not because of any of the terrible reasons out there that, assholes are talking about. I just am sick of these goddamn live action reboots. But the reviews have been strong. So now I'm a little torn.
Or I'm a C with this, I mean.
Let's keep her under the C.
Yes. Good one. I'm not the biggest. I like the Little Mermaid, the original.
Mhm.
I would really like to see this. I'll probably wait till it's on Disney Plus, to watch it. But I'm definitely interested. And the reviews, I feel like have been kind of mixed, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like the reviews have been like the movie does not visually look great. The CGI is a mess. But then I've also seen like, oh my god, Melissa McCarthy is like actually acting in this and is like really good. Which of course Melissa McCarthy is a fantastic actress when she's, doing more acting and less, being a goofball. Not that that's bad either, but I'm when I hear that Melissa McCarthy is turning in a great performance, my ears perk up. I'm like, all right, can you ever forgive me? Stuff like that. I mean, she's been fantastic before, so I'm interested. And then obviously the trailer, Halle Bailey's voice is beautiful. I mean, I'm excited to see kind of how the songs are reinvented and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will wait for Disney Plus, but I feel like C is both funny and appropriate. Next up, big one here.
Yes.
We got Miles Morales himself, Spider-Man himself, because as we all know, Miles Morales is Spider-Man. I don't know why that argument is raging on Twitter right now, but
oh really? Didn't see that.
Yeah, people are ridiculous out there. But where are you at with this in terms of?
That's an S for me.
There you go. Okay, S for
Easy
Spider-Man.
S. Yeah.
S for Shamik Moore, given another fantastic performance as Miles Morales. The 9th, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So by all accounts, this movie is terrible. So where do we want to put this?
Well, I was gonna say B.
I'd still be comfortable with B because it's not Bay.
Right.
It's building off of Bumblebee. A lot of alliteration right now with these movies. It is building off Bumblebee, which for a while we thought it was going to have nothing to do with, but the movie's set in 94, and the director said this takes place 8 years after the Bumblebee movie, so clearly it's going to have something to do with it. So I'm comfortable with B. You want B?
No. I'll go C, okay, because you said apparently
Fair
it's
enough.
terrible.
Yeah.
I do enjoy, although I've been meaning to rewatch the Transformers. At least Shia LaBeouf. I've never seen the Mark Wahlberg ones.
Yeah. You ever seen?
And
the
I gotta rewatch
Cade
Bumblebee.
Yeager?
No. But I do gotta rewatch Bumblebee too, because I did enjoy that when I saw it. So yeah, I'm interested. But like you said, apparently people are saying it's not good, so that brings down my hype level a little bit.
Yeah. All right, here. Next up here, so that was June 9th. Next up, June 16th is the one and only
Now
The Flash, also known as Batman 6.
I'll be honest. I think for me, I want to go B on this one. Just because
I think I would argue to pull it up to an A.
To an A? Okay. The
Yeah.
reason I say B is because I don't know what to believe on if this movie is good or not.
Yeah, it's
so
hard.
There's people that say that it's like the best comic book movie ever, one of the best comic book movies ever. And then we see other people, and as advanced screenings, I guess, are starting to come out and people are talking about it, that say, oh, it's fine, or it's really not that good. I saw one tweet, I think, that was like, if you want to see the story of Flashpoint told better, just watch the movie, like the animated movie or something like that, or, so I don't know what to believe. Like Tom, we have Tom Cruise. I don't know if that was real, saying it was like the best, movie or whatever. And then who was the other? There was somebody else that was like, oh, or like Jaden Smith posted on Instagram that he was watching The Flash and was like, oh, it's the best movie. It's like, well, I don't know what to, I really don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I don't know what I that's a good point. I'm not even gonna go deeper into it because I
then
just don't
apparently,
know what to believe.
Like I don't know if you saw it, Roka had tweeted that like he had people telling him that nobody has like seen like the final cut. Like it's like been different cuts of the movie that people have seen or something.
See, I believe that because every single person has said that everything that's going out before it releases in theaters is no post-credit scene.
Right.
So if they're already not putting post-credit scenes on it, I wouldn't be surprised if they are reshuffling things around. And the one that I'll I'll let get away with that is the CinemaCon one, because that is 2 months before the movie comes out. So, you know, probably not final lock on the edit. But yeah, I'm surprised that like some of these critics that are seeing it now are also saying, you know, it's not going to be the same cut. All right, let's go next up here, because another movie that I don't know what to think anymore is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, I have particular thoughts on this, specifically the con of it all, the can of it all. I don't think that's the greatest audience to release this movie.
Same here.
I really don't I mean, yes, does it have a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, real quick, sorry. Just speaking of can, is it true that the B movie premiered at Cannes?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean,
Daniel
Jerry
sent
Seinfeld,
me,
I would believe it.
On Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. It was like a picture of Jerry Seinfeld dressed up as a bee from the B movie. And it was like, oh, Jerry Seinfeld at Cannes. I don't know if that was real or not.
I definitely remember a video used to play before some DVD where it was him in a bee costume. And the whole joke was that it was like this giant window, and he was like, "We can't do this live action. We gotta scrap it." Like, so I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if he wore that to Cannes, but he definitely wore that outfit, because I remember
CBS
it.
News, Cannes a buzz over Seinfeld's B movie.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
Yeah, so you think this wasn't the place to premiere this movie? What about when they premiered the B movie at Cannes? You know,
perfect place. I mean, absolutely. I mean, that movie is a definitive, I mean, motion picture of our time. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, the B movie is just beautiful. But Indiana Jones, 50-something% right now.
Yeah.
I mean, but you gotta keep in mind,
man.
like, 300 critics that are like, I gotta see Killers of the Flower Moon. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, like, you got it. I mean, did you see that teaser? Whew. That was a hell of a teaser trailer.
It looks
awesome.
Where are we at with Indy here? Because
for me, it's an A.
I would have said S last week, but there's just that little bit of doubt. But I am still. I said to my friend at work, I was like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to wait for the audience score on this one. Like, I was like, this one's for the fans, man. This one's for the fans. You don't understand. Like, that's just the mindset that I'm going in with, and hopefully it pays off. All right, let's get through July here, and then let's speed run some of these further out ones. So, right after Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, we are going to be cranking into the month of July, and that would be starting us off with, actually, I think I missed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's
so
a D for me.
Yeah, let's go with that. That's a D?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care.
Could I get you to a B? I mean, Seth Rogen, I love this franchise. I didn't care for the Michael Bay produced ones. I know he did not direct those. But it's got that Spider-Verse vibe. It's got that fun kind of energy to it. All right, I'll go with a C. I'll put it at the beginning of C. Because
that's fine.
I'm more hyped to see this movie. I think this movie has more potential upside than either of these two. So that's my argument.
That is fair. Yes.
But I think that Fast X has a better chance of me enjoying the watching of the movie overall. I feel like. Next up here, it's a big one. It's a doozy. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Easy S.
Easy S. Right there. Absolutely beautiful. Cannot wait for that
Tom
movie.
Cruise jumping off a cliff on a bike.
You are fighting for an ideal that no longer exists. Can't wait. The famous doubleheader that is coming up here, July 21st. We got Oppenheimer. We got Barbie. Where are we going with this, folks? I mean,
for
what
me, Oppenheimer. I think I'm going A.
All right. What about Barbie here?
Barbie, also an A.
Gotta get that Kenergy. All right. I think that's fair. I'm very hyped for Oppenheimer, but not as much as these three.
I would agree.
All right. So continuing in August here, I know these are August both. We got DC's Blue Beetle, which James Gunn has confirmed is the first movie set in the new DCU. We've seen the trailer. We got a lot of different interesting people in this. A lot of different, kind of an interesting different vibe from a lot of the other DC movies. Where are you landing with this one?
I'm gonna go B on that. As much as I disliked the trailer music, and how they used that, I thought it was a really fun trailer, funny with some kind of scary horror elements with the whole suit being fused to his body
horror stuff,
which was very creepy. But you know, the whole Batman fascist joke I thought was really funny. So I'm a B on that.
All right. Well, I'm a B. Moving on to the next one here, which is the Meg 2, The Trench.
Meg 2.
It's a Megalodon.
Listen,
now, full disclosure, I have not watched the trailer yet, but I've heard it's fantastic, set to Barracuda. It's a real vibe.
Oh, yeah.
But where are you at with here?
We're disagreeing on this one. I have not seen the first one.
Oh, so you're in an S.
Action. I'm not an S. I would be lowest I would go is D, obviously. But I will compromise. And I will give you C ranking, yes.
Okay, I think that's fair. Man, I don't know. We are really unintentionally doing a lot of funny alliteration and puns here. We put Blue Beetle into B. We got Ariel and Under the Sea. We got the shark in the sea. I don't really know how the turtles go into sea, but you know, some of them work, some of them don't. Next up here. Trying to keep my dates right in my head. I believe Kraven is looking at October. So Kraven, we have seen nothing from it, but CinemaCon was raving about Kraven. And that is that he's apparently biting people's noses off. He's killing people with swords, hitting people with claws. And Russell Crowe looks crazy in it. Where are you at with this? I mean, Sony's kind of first R-rated. I feel like it could really go. It could be fantastic, or it could be terrible.
I'm willing to go B on this, but I am not hopeful. Sony has not proven that they are able to do a live-action Marvel movie in any way, shape, or form lately. And I'm not counting Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse or Far From Home or anything like that.
I still think that the best thing out of the two best things are the two Venom movies, and those are like solid B minus movies, like solid B minus movies, like, and that's the best that they've had to offer. And that's to say, like, yeah, I like the Venom movies, but like it's not like, you know, Spider-Verse or you know, Far From Home or you know, stuff like that. But all right, next up here we got November 10th, what it was originally July. We got November 10th, we got The Marvels. I love this trailer. It's one of my favorite trailers of the year, to be honest with you. Every time it comes out in the movies, I get super, super pumped for this movie. But where are you at with kind of revisiting these characters and everything?
I'd say you know what? I'd say I'm at an A. Because I am very interested to see more of Miss Marvel in this movie.
See, me too, man. I think that's I think that's going to be the biggest indication of, can a Disney Plus hero successfully transfer over? And everybody that I hear talking about, and sure, it's in the insulated bubble of podcasts and YouTube channels and people that I work with that are movie fans and everything like that, but everyone I talk to, they're like, yeah, the trailer looks okay, but I really am excited to see what Iman Vellani is going to continue to do. And I think she's going to be a big bright spot in that movie. But all right, last two here.
Paris. That's the other one I'm excited for.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Tiana, yeah, because we haven't seen Monica since WandaVision 3 years ago. Yeah. All right, Dune Part 2. I think we can say S.
That's an S. Yes.
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Somebody who was in Dune 1 that would have been an S.
That is a D for me.
I think we're going to be going with a D. And that is coming from somebody who, I can't really show it, but has it right there. Aquaman. I don't know, man. We're hearing nothing but awful things.
As Aquaman. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it could be the end of him as Aquaman, but I'm totally on board if the whole Lobo thing shakes out. Jason Momoa clearly has not been shy about saying that he feels good about his future at DC Studios. Like we said, though, maybe that's not as Aquaman. But I don't know. I just everything that everyone has been saying.
Seen the first one.
I thought the first one was.
Did you
fun.
see the? Sorry, real quick. Did you see the art? I feel like maybe it was like a day or two, but the kind of argument on Twitter about who was the better filmmaker. It was like Snyder or James Gunn, or maybe it was who made the better DC movies or whatever. I mean, to me, it's not really a competition, but.
Who'd you pick?
I would pick James Gunn all day.
Yeah.
It might have been the better direct. I forget which one it was. Because I feel like it's usually, if you're talking about Zack Snyder, it's usually singular to the DC universe. Obviously he's done other movies, but that's where I feel like the loud cry usually comes from. But yeah.
I think we got Aquaman. Just to touch on, I don't even know. I mean. The most I can say is I'm excited. I liked Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson's chemistry, and this movie has been described as a team-up movie with the two of them, so if that's the case, fantastic. But, dude, this movie started filming before the pandemic, and it is still in post-production. I mean, who even knows if this is going to hit this fall? It might not even hit this fall. It might be pushed back, but it is not looking good. I'm getting real Fury of the Gods vibes from this, but... luckily, a lot of the rest of these are really, really looking good. We got a lot of solid S's, A's, B's, and even in C. I think for me in C, I am looking forward to the Meg 2, and I am definitely looking forward to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And everything B and up, I'm still looking forward to. Maybe Craven hits, maybe it doesn't, but, I'll still watch it. Morbius was Morbius. Maybe it's Craven time. I don't know. Maybe
and real quick, I got good news for you and everybody preying on the downfall of one Sam Levinson. And I know we don't take, Rotten Tomatoes for, all that seriousness.
Oh, buddy, I'll take that 9%.
9% on Rotten Tomatoes currently as a critic score.
If we had more time, I would talk for 20 minutes right now about that. I am just... And the whole... Did you see that it's the same universe as Euphoria? And
I saw that.
Maddie is going to make a crossover appearance.
Yeah, I did see
that. What the fuck are we doing here? Like, and not only that, okay, I can't get into all this, but just look up all the drama behind the scenes with The Idol. I mean, Sam Levinson and The Weeknd calling themselves geniuses, crying that it's the best thing they've ever seen when they're the ones that made it.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, not that, like, this is a bad thing, and not that, all work is work and everything like that, but the fact that they pushed out a woman writer and director who was originally on this project, you can look that up, that's all was in Variety and everything like that over this past summer. The fact that all of that stuff happened pushed out the only female voice on the creative side of the show, and then since that, they have brought in a lot of, let's just say, adult industry stars to be in the show. And by all accounts, it sounds like it is just a very disgusting, gross show. So I don't know what we're doing here. But a 9% and a 5-minute standing ovation at Cannes, which Sam Levinson was tearing up at.
I love that, they get these standing ovations. Like, Indiana Jones had that ovation that everybody was like, meh, it's not that good.
Lukewarm 5 minutes. Yeah.
Lukewarm 5 minutes. What does that even mean? Like, what does lukewarm standing ovation mean? Like, people are like, Harrison Ford's like, he's very moved because, he loves Indiana Jones and, he's being recognized for this movie, but people are like clapping like,
yeah, like I think it was an Onion article that was like before Killers of the Flower Moon screened, They were
Right,
like,
exactly.
Killers
People
of the Flower Moon gets shitboxed 10 minutes standing ovation. And it's like, what are we talking about? Like, we've lost all perspective on these goddamn standing ovations. It's like, remember last year with Don't Worry Darling, it was like, Don't Worry Darling only got a 14-minute standing ovation, but The Whale got a 17-minute standing ovation. Who's standing and clapping for 17 minutes? 30 seconds at most, man. And I'm getting tired after 15. You know what I mean? I'm sitting back down. I don't care how much I love Harrison Ford. But yeah, The Idol, I don't know. That is just a absolute cluster F. That's really, and I love Euphoria, not for the Sam Levinson of it, just because I was hooked on that show. But you know, I really don't feel like I probably going to go back to either of those shows. Just because, really, just feels like something that, and to answer all of your multitude of abuse claims and misconduct on set by saying, no, that all didn't happen. It was just fake. It was just malicious stuff made up by the media. Dude, like, what are we doing? It just infuriates me. But you know, if more Idol stuff comes out, maybe we'll have a spot for it next week to talk about. But then again, the show comes out next week, so we might have even more. We might have even more to talk about. But till then, guys, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about the summer movies. We talked about really the big blockbusters, most of them for the entire rest of the year. We talked about Barry, little tiny bit on Succession, a lot on some video games. If you guys are playing Tears of the Kingdom, let us know what you're thinking of that. If you're playing Jedi Survivor still, let us know what you're thinking about that. Barry, Ted Lasso, everything else, the writer's strike, all this fight against AI, fight against David Zaslav getting booed and chanted at the Boston University commencement speech, which I thought was just chef's kiss, fantastic. But let us know all that and more, guys. That will do it for me. I've been one of your hosts for this evening, Sean Monk. TJ, you want to close us out here?
Yeah, but no, there was TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about any of the topics below. Check out some of our reviews on the channel, and we will see you next time.
I got a question for you first.
Yeah.
What kind of an animal can jump as high as a house?
I don't know.
None. A house can't jump.